Look at this world. Every structure, every signal, every illuminated window in every city on this planet. Each of them began as a thought translated into action by a human being who refused to accept that something was impossible. I am Nikola Tesla. What I built in physical reality, I first built perfectly, completely, and without error in my mind. And here is what I have crossed time itself to transmit to you. You carry the same architecture, the same capacity for precision imagination, the same capacity for relentless, focused, world-altering action. You have simply not yet received your signal clearly. Everything I'm about to tell you is designed to help you tune in. Listen carefully. This transmission will not repeat. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. In an age that demands your attention at every waking moment, on screens, in feeds, in the endless, addictive consumption of other people's outputs, the truly revolutionary act is to sit in silence with your own undistracted mind. I built my greatest work there, not in laboratories crowded with assistants, not in investor meetings, not in the hungry search for approval. In the dark and the quiet of pure, uninterrupted imagination, my induction motor ran perfectly for weeks before a single physical component existed. The geometry of the coils was exact. The rotation of the magnetic fields was measurable. The failure modes had already been identified and corrected. When metal finally met metal in the physical world, the result was almost inevitable. Most people are terrified of their own company. They fill every pause with stimulation because silence asks a question they are not yet prepared to answer. What do you actually want to build? Here is your practice. 30 minutes, every single day, without a device or a distraction. Sit with your most important unresolved problem. Do not force a solution. Create space for one. The breakthrough you need has been assembling itself in your subconscious for longer than you realize. Silence is the channel through which it travels into conscious form. The noise of this world is engineered to keep you consuming. Solitude is the technology of creation. Choose it deliberately. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, the 6, and the 9, you would have a key to the universe. But let me translate this into something you can use today. Energy, frequency, vibration. These are not mystical concepts invented by dreamers. They are the physical description of your daily life, your daily choices, and your daily output. Every thought you generate is a measurable electrical event in your nervous system. Every emotional state you sustain creates an electromagnetic field around your body that influences the behavior of every cell you contain. This is not philosophy. This is established biophysics, and its practical consequence is this: you are broadcasting a frequency at every moment. The question is not whether you are transmitting. The question is what you are transmitting and whether it corresponds to the reality you want to inhabit. Most people allow their frequency to be set entirely by accident, by the news they consume, the conversations they permit, the old stories they rehearse silently about their own limitations. This is the equivalent of leaving your most powerful transmitter tuned permanently to someone else's station. Your assignment is straightforward. Audit your inputs. Everything you watch, everything you read, everyone you allow sustained access to your attention. These are all frequency data being fed into your signal. Raise the average quality of what enters your mind and the average quality of what leaves it. Your ideas, your decisions, your actions, your results will rise in direct and measurable proportion. You do not need better circumstances. You need a better signal. Begin transmitting one. The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine. Let me tell you exactly what they did to me, because I want you to understand what resilience actually requires at its outer limits. They burned my laboratory. Decades of irreplaceable research gone in a single night of flame and ash. They stole my patents, the very blueprints of the modern electrical world, and rewrote the historical record to minimize my contribution. They chose direct current over alternating current, not because it was superior, but because it was profitable for one powerful man. They cut off my funding at the precise moment my greatest project was closest to completion. I lost nearly everything, multiple times. The work continued, because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. And every catastrophe I suffered was potential energy in a compressed state, a phase transition, the moment of maximum pressure just before an inevitable release. Your failures are not verdicts on your worth. They are data. They tell you precisely where your model needs refinement. They are the universe's most efficient feedback mechanism, and the only way to receive this feedback is to remain in the game long enough to collect it. When the world tells you no, when the funding disappears, when the project collapses, when the person you built it for walks away, it is not telling you to stop. It is telling you that you are operating at a frontier. And at every frontier in history, the resistance was always highest precisely because the breakthrough was always closest. Keep going. The architecture of the future is built exclusively by people who outran their own catastrophes. Every light you see is my legacy. Every motor that turns, every wireless signal. I did not create these things to accumulate personal wealth or to secure a comfortable life. I created them to connect, to close the distance between human beings and the forces of nature that could serve them equally, everywhere, without exception. That intention matters. Because when you build from a place of genuine contribution, the work outlasts you in a way that work built from ego never does. We are all nodes in a cosmic network. Every human mind both receives and transmits. Your ideas, your creations, your daily acts of service and craft, these are not merely personal achievements. They are your specific, unrepeatable frequency added to the collective signal of human civilization. The world does not need more passive consumers of existing ideas. It needs architects, people who see what is broken and build what is missing. People who translate the frequency of human need into practical, repeatable, scalable solutions. Here is the question I want you to sit with today, and every day after. What light will you leave behind? Not as an abstraction, but specifically. What problem, sitting unsolved in the lives of people around you, are you uniquely positioned to address? What corner of the world will be measurably brighter because you moved through it? Your energy is your signature upon the structure of the universe. Every day you act in alignment with your deepest purpose, you add to that signature. Every day you do not, you leave it incomplete. What will yours say? Here is a technique I want to give you directly. Not as inspiration, but as a repeatable engineering practice you can begin using today. When I was developing the rotating magnetic field, the principle underlying every alternating current motor on Earth, I did not begin with materials or prototypes. I began with a complete, precise mental simulation. I specified the geometry of every coil. I specified the exact timing of every phase. I ran the motor at full load in my imagination and observed the results. I identified failure modes. I corrected them. I ran the simulation again. All of this before a single physical component was fabricated. The process took weeks. But when metal finally met metal, the device performed on the first attempt. Here is the practice. Before you begin any significant work, any project, any relationship, any major decision, run the full simulation in your mind first. Not a vague hope or a feeling of optimism. A precise, complete mental model. Who are the people involved? What are the likely failure modes? What does success look like in specific, measurable, undeniable detail? Most people move far too quickly from idea to execution. They build before they have fully simulated. They encounter failure modes that could have been identified and corrected in imagination, where correction costs nothing. And they call this failure. It is not failure. It is the consequence of skipping the most important phase of the creative process. Slow down your imagination. Make it precise. Make it complete. Then accelerate your execution. The difference between a visionary and a fantasist is never the quality of the vision. It is always the quality of the engineering that follows. The human brain is the most sophisticated electromagnetic device in the known universe. It operates across multiple frequency bands simultaneously. It maintains coherent processing across billions of nodes while consuming less energy than a dim light bulb. And most people leave it running entirely on default settings. I spent decades studying energy transfer, how to move force from source to destination with minimum loss and maximum efficiency. And the principle I discovered in electrical systems applies with equal force to human performance. The greatest enemy of output is internal resistance. You know your internal resistance. It is the voice that says, "This has already been tried." That says, "You are not yet qualified." That says, "The timing is not quite right." It is not wisdom, it is static. And in any transmission system, static is the enemy of signal clarity. Here is your daily circuit design. First, before you consume any external input, before news, before messages, before other people's problems, spend 15 minutes building something. Write, sketch, plan, simulate. This is your transmission phase, when your signal is strongest and your cognitive bandwidth is at its peak. Protect it absolutely. Second, ruthlessly eliminate the relationships, habits, and media inputs that generate internal resistance without generating genuine insight. Not discomfort, resistance. Discomfort is growth. Resistance is drag. Learn to distinguish between them. Third, at the close of each day, audit the gap between the quality of your intention and the quality of your output. Not harshly, precisely. Where was resistance highest? What can be redesigned? Your mind is the most powerful machine you will ever operate. Design it accordingly. We are standing at a threshold that would have astonished even me. The convergence of global wireless communication, distributed artificial intelligence, and renewable energy is not a distant prospect. It is the present moment, accelerating faster than most existing institutions can comprehend, let alone govern. And the question this moment poses to every individual human being is not, what will the technology enable? The question is, what will you do with it? Every era of significant technological transformation has produced two kinds of people: those who were carried forward by the current, and those who shaped the direction of the current itself. The difference was never intelligence. It was never resources or connections or timing. It was intention combined with sustained, disciplined daily action. It was the decision, made again every single morning, to be a builder rather than a passenger. Technology without wisdom is simply a more efficient mechanism for amplifying existing human error. The frequency of the future is not determined by the power of our machines. It is determined by the quality of our intentions. Raise your frequency. Not as a slogan, as a daily engineering practice. Elevate the quality of what you think about, what you act on, what you build toward. Let your values lead your capabilities, not follow them at a safe distance. Build something that outlasts you. Build something that connects rather than divides. The future belongs to those willing to hold the highest possible vision for this civilization and do the unglamorous, disciplined, daily work of making it real. Look at this world one final time, not with the eyes of someone passing through, with the eyes of an architect. Every system you depend on was once an impossibility that a single human being refused to accept. The light began in my imagination. The motor began as a mental simulation, running perfectly in silence weeks before it physically existed. The wireless signal you carry in your pocket, I saw that too, long before anyone believed it was possible. What begins in your imagination today? My transmission is complete. But a transmission is only meaningful if it is received, and reception always requires action. Take what resonates, act on it, build with it. Do not allow yourself to leave this moment unchanged. Unlock your frequency. Build your future. The light that powers this world once lived only in my imagination. The light that will power the next world lives only in yours. It has always been within you. Now, let it out.